Hi y'all, I'm Frankie, coming to you with 12 of this week's best-selling nonfiction books and what people are saying about them. First off, we have, at number 1, Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man by Mary L. Trump. This tell-all memoir from Donald Trump's niece about the family's dynamics received a starred review from Kirkus, calling it a deeply satisfying read. Publishers Weekly says that Mary L. Trump delivers a concise and damning account of her family's dysfunctions and their role in shaping her uncle's toxic blend of cruelty, incompetence, and vainglory. Number 2. Caste, in which Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Isabel Wilkerson examines aspects of caste systems across civilizations and reveals a rigid hierarchy in America today. Kirkus Reviews and Publishers Weekly both gave it a starred review. Kirkus describes it as a memorable, provocative book that exposes an American history in which few can take pride. Publishers Weekly calls it a powerful and extraordinarily timely social history. Number 3. Live Free or Die: America and the World on the Brink by Sean Hannity, in which the Fox News host offers his assessment of what is at stake in the 2020 election. Number 4. Untamed, in which activist and public speaker Glennon Doyle describes her journey of listening to her inner voice. Kirkus Reviews describes it as lucid and inspiring, and Publishers Weekly says it is an endearing testament to female empowerment that is full of hopeful messages. Number 5 is How to Be an Antiracist by Ibram X. Kendi. This is a primer for creating a more just and equitable society through identifying and opposing racism. Kirkus Reviews says that it is not an easy read, but an essential one, with Publishers Weekly describing it as powerful and thoughtful. Number 6. Finding Freedom by Ahmed Scobie and Carolyn Durand. This chronicles the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's journey from courtship to their decision to step away from their royal lives. Kirkus Reviews says it's hard to imagine a more supportive work than this, adding that if you've ever thought being in the royal family sounds like a nightmare, this book leaves no doubt. Number 7. White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, which is a cultural analysis of what causes defensive moves by white people and how this inhibits cross-racial dialogue. Publishers Weekly called this book impressive in its scope and complexity. But seriously, folks, this book is not worth your time. If you're looking for something to read to help you better understand the current Black Lives Matter protests, there are mountains of other books out there that provide much deeper insight into what's going on, some of which are further down this bestseller list. So, take your pick. In my opinion, White Fragility is not the book to read in this moment. And I'm going to leave some critiques of this book linked down in the description below. Number 8. Evil Geniuses by Kurt Anderson. The author of Fantasyland traces the origins of today's economic inequality and political dysfunction to the quite deliberate re-engineering of our economy and society since the 1960s by a highly rational confederacy of the rich, the right, and big business. Kirkus Reviews calls this hard-hitting analysis of America's hijacked, screwed-up political economy a rousing call for desperately needed systemic transformation. Publishers Weekly adds that readers will get a clearer picture of how the US got to where it is today. Number 9. The Warmth of Other Suns. This is Isabel Wilkerson's 2010 book, an account of the Great Migration of 1915 to 1970, in which nearly 6 million Americans abandoned the South. It focuses mainly on the personal stories of 3 Southern African Americans who uprooted their lives to move to other parts of America. Kirkus Reviews and Publishers Weekly both gave it a starred review. Kirkus says that Wilkerson's powerful storytelling style gives this decades-spanning history a welcome novelistic flavor, and calls it an impressive and truly auspicious debut. Publishers Weekly adds that Wilkerson deftly incorporates sociological and historical studies into the novelistic narratives. Number 10. So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Oluo, which looks at the contemporary racial landscape of the United States. Kirkus Reviews calls it a feisty, clear, and candid contribution to an essential conversation, and Publishers Weekly describes it as insightful and trenchant, but not preachy. Number 11, The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson, which is an examination of the leadership of Prime Minister Winston Churchill. Kirkus gave it a starred review, calling it a captivating history of Churchill's heroic first year as British Prime Minister, with more than the usual emphasis on his intimates. Publishers Weekly also gave it a starred review, describing this character-driven account of Churchill's leadership as vivid and propulsive. I want to try to add some balance here. Churchill, the heroic World War II leader, is a story that's been told countless times. I think there's some room for that, but it's also important that people know that he didn't extend his belief in democracy and freedom beyond white Europeans, that his racist views and corresponding policies were considered abhorrent and brutish by many of his contemporaries at the time, that he enacted violence on anyone who dared to stand for their rights against the British Empire, from Indians to the Kenyan Kikuyu people to Irish Catholics, and was an unapologetic imperialist through and through. I've linked to an article below that does a good job of discussing these less-known aspects of his legacy. Number 12, The Truths We Hold by Kamala Harris. This is a memoir by the daughter of immigrants who is now a California senator and the 2020 Democratic candidate for vice president. Kirkus Reviews says this obligatory campaign biography fits well alongside such politico-aspirational books as Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father.